Okay, welcome everybody. Welcome everyone to the Ethical Humanist Society of Long Island. My name is Richard Koral and I'm leader here. And I welcome you to a new season. This is like a new season, September. We sort of take this, never lose that academic year sensibility, where a new school year starts in September. And a lot of the people here are educators and they never left it, so, but those of us who, even those of us who left that long ago still retain that kind of sense that when there's a little bit of a chill in the air, the new year is beginning and we have a new, well, where is that chill in the air actually? Yeah, what happened to it? Well, global warming has its good sides. Nothing's more important than what we're doing here today. And we don't want any interruption. And we have some newcomers here today, and I welcome you. I hope you delighted that you're here, and hope you really enjoy what we do together. We've been coming together for now 73 years. This is the 73rd new season that we're opening up. The society was organized in 1950, which seems like yesterday, right? But we're still together on this journey to understand what life really means for us and what meaning we can put into the lives we live, as our search for the ethical way is our goal. So, again, coming to a new year is pretty exciting. We are full of new projects and new expectations here, new energy. There are lots of plans for this new year here at Ethical. And doing it as a community together is sort of a special sweetness to it. As I said, this is the 73rd year that people have been meeting at the Ethical Humanist Society of Long Island. And the question you might ask is, why do we come here? What is it here? Why do we come? Ethical culture is an intentional community where we get together when we really don't have to. We do good things and no one pays us to do it. And we don't really have anything compelling us to come here. But like so many other things, we do it because it's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do things that we do here, like the Ethical Friends of Children that provides the clothing for poor children, the Get Out the Vote campaign that happened 2 years ago, assistance to groups with which we're allied, like the New Hour community that's working with reentry for incarcerated women, the Community Solidarity Food Bank, the Westbury Volunteer Corps, the Long Island Land Trust that we had the barbecue for. These are important projects. A youth program to teach the young to appreciate the ethical path, at least when we have some youth. Well, we do it just because it's the right thing to do. Sometimes we can feel like we're among the last holdouts of those who get together in a community like this. The trend is definitely against us. We're not the only people, of course, who are doing good things, but numbers of people attending any kind of a church or a community is going down, and that decline accelerated in the 2010s. Participation in clubs is down. Fewer people agreeing to run for local office. There's just less participation overall, and it's a national phenomenon. So where is everybody? So some sociologists talk about the Sunday morning talk shows. Everyone is watching them, or they're sipping their mimosas, or they're, I don't know, watching high school football practice. People are just not joining. And this is unusual in history. The human being was built on a life of community, life in a tribe among your people. Solitude was unusual, not healthy. It was for idiosyncratic hermits. And to this day, the severest punishment that a prison can mete out is solitary confinement. It's considered torture by human rights groups. And that's because people need companionship. It's not a weakness, it's part of the way we are built. And research is consistent. Those who are part of a community, who belong to a community, cultural, tribal, familial, religious, are healthier. Groups where they say hello to you, they recognize you. Those people live longer than those who live unconnected lives. There's less heart disease, less other organic diseases. It's said that people, most of us, have a limit to how many people we can know. We can know about 150 people. And why is that? It's a lasting bit of evidence that we evolved in these nomadic bands of about 150 people. And that's how we're structured. Today, we live in crowds, but you can be lonely in a crowd. Even so, there are ways that people find to bond, even in large numbers, find identity. How can 330 million Americans find common identity? There's a wonderful book by Yuval Harari called Sapiens, talking about the human development, and explained that ours is the only species that can communicate and share a dream. We can share an idea that may not be true in reality, but it's true for us because we accept it. Just by sharing it, it'll be something we all accept, we believe in, and we live by. And in that way, it becomes real. A good example of that is money. Money is nothing except the faith that when you give $1 to, at the candy store, you'll get a candy bar in return. But it has no value in and of itself. It's just the agreement that we have that money has value. And so we give it value. Other things in religions, gods, different communities have created their own individual, cultural created gods and things that they consider holy. And that keeps them a common bond, a common language. With a shared dream, we can rely on the mutual adherence to this shared dream, and we can pursue shared goals, pursue a shared faith, feel that we're recognized by the others and accepted as one of them, a member of the community. Well, we're just such a group too. So I ask you, what is our shared dream? We certainly do have shared dreams. And that's why we're together. What we share here is rather unique, and that's why we're here and not somewhere else. So what is our dream? Well, it was almost 150 years ago that a young man, just 23 years of age, shared his vision of a movement, a religion, as he saw it, that was entirely devoted to the good. He felt that the traditional theologies were both long in the tooth and declining in relevance with new scientific discoveries that served to really explain how the world worked. But he recognized that the search for the moral path was a universal need, true for all traditions. It was vitally important, and it was something we could do if we applied ourselves. It's sometimes helpful to recall what New York City was like in those days, the 1870s. There was extraordinary wealth existing right beside extraordinary poverty. Sewage flowed in the streets. Livestock lived alongside tenements. Cholera and typhoid were common. There were urgent needs, and the early ethical culture groups were legendary in the projects that they engaged in those days. So that's when he coined his formula, deed before creed. Or as he said, multiplicity in the creed, but unanimity in the deed. In other words, I don't care where you're from as long as you help out on this project. You can believe what you like, pray however you like, but help out here too. You are then defined more by what you do than by what you say. Underlying this was a deeply rooted faith in people, the people who step up to help. It's faith in the capacity of people to make a difference, however small it may be. Confidence that there's value in the effort and that the world can be made a little bit better by that effort. That we can create, as we like to say here in the Ethical Society, that we can create a caring world. Well, there's a crisis in faith today. But today's crisis of faith is not about a lost belief in a savior. It's not about a loss of faith in ideas about immortality or other features of theology. The loss of faith today is in being able to create a caring world, in building a society that takes care of its people, that responds to one's deeply fundamental needs. There's a crisis of hope, of confidence, and of security. There's a loss of faith in our ability to manage our lives. We see millions of people fleeing their homelands, and we see the results of climate change, the fires, the storms, the floods. We see the persistence of people in positions of power who ignore the obvious and continue to act as if it's the 1950s, back when we began. How does this manifest? Well, there are statistics that kind of point this out. Over the 2010s, or that is over the last decade, the number of people attending churches declined again. Those called the nuns, or the none of the aboves, those who are unaffiliated with any church, increased by some 50% and now are 30% of the population. So many people in the ethical movement thought that this was a good sign, that there was this vast new demographic that was emerging, ready to maybe join our movement. But that hasn't really happened so much. And the reason is apparent when you look at the numbers. Pew Research surveyed nuns and reported that at least 2/3 of them claim to be religious and believe that magical beings control their lives. So in that, they're very much like the rest of the population. But their unique feature lies in the fact that they're just not joiners. The number of people who just don't join, that's what is increasing. This is evidence of a creeping loss of faith, a loss of faith in other people. So we're drifting apart as a society. You see it in political debates. You hear in popular talk radio the snide dismissal of other people as dumb or crazy. You see it in the decline of people willing to volunteer or participate. Well, some say the decline in participation is simply because people are working more. With greater income disparities, many more people have to put in longer hours to meet their needs or to meet their goals. And that leaves people with less time. Certainly in our lifetime, women entered into the workforce in larger numbers, and as the result, fewer women are available to staff the volunteer corps of organizations as they traditionally had done. And some say that social media has siphoned off whole great swaths of the population into these little solitary universes where friends are in the cloud, they're not in person. I remember this TV ad. Does anybody remember it? It was for an automobile, and they had this older couple, and they had this new automobile that was being advertised, and they were just so thrilled about it. They were going to jump in the car and go places. And then it cut to their daughter, their adult daughter, who worried about her parents. Her parents don't have any friends. They're just by themselves. And I have hundreds of friends, and you see her alone in her house, and she's got the computer there. Then her friends are on Facebook. And then it goes back to the older couple. They are joyful. They're together. They're jumping into the car and they're going places, So the difference between, one might say a person to person, palpable, touchable connection and these theoretical ones. Well, in ethical culture, we have a faith, and it's just as strong as that of other religious groups. It's a faith in the capacity of people to rise and realize their better selves. A faith that people can reach out and recognize the humanity and inherent worth, the dignity and the beauty in other people. And do that when others may not. And even when they may not see it in themselves. It's a faith in the strength, the imagination, and will in people to step up and build communities and to be fair and equitable to all, to rise above exclusion and exceptionalism, and to respect all voices. It's a faith in human potential. So while there's a lot of evidence that people are capable of awful things, indeed, most of the bad things that happen outside of earthquakes and meteorites are indeed caused or facilitated by human agency. Think of the war in Ukraine, the chaos in Sudan, climate change. It's just today's paper, right? On the other hand, history does offer many examples that illustrate how things can indeed work, where the enduring spirit of fellowship and responsibility keeps civilization working. People are capable of benevolence and charity in small ways and in heroic ways. And in this, ethical culture has a special mission. It's to promote and encourage the best inherent characteristics of good in all that we do and in all whom we meet. Felix Adler, the founder, said that our task is to ethicize our world in all our relations, within the family, in the workplace, in the public sphere. We're to model engaged and ethical relations to enrich our relationships and to raise up the people we engage with. So he said, this is my central thought. We exist as spiritual selves only insofar as we influence others. We develop, broaden, and deepen our spiritual life by making more comprehensive, more profound, and more stimulating our influence on others. He summarized this with his familiar formula, which he called the supreme ethical rule. He said, to elicit the best in others and thereby in yourself. Or as he expressed it in another formulation, so act as to elicit the latent spiritual possibilities in others, their latent possibilities, and as a result, discover the latent spiritual strength in yourself. So to uplift others and to uplift ourselves. So this is our mission. This is our goal. It's with engagement that we impact the world and be forces for good. That's why we call it a religion of ethics. A religion, yes, for those who are not turned off by the word, but not a religion of theology. Our focus is on ethics, on the understanding of ethics, of how we live together and enrich all our relationships, and how to practice ethics to be fair, just, and make a sustainable world. So we in ethical culture are in many ways unique. And what we have here and what we do may not be for everybody. When we have a newcomer's orientation, we meet folks who are seeking an acquaintance with our society and an ethical culture, and we try to show ourselves at our best. We show off all the activities that we have, the new friends they can make here, and we try to be charming, But Of course, we're not really for everybody. We do not have a clear and fixed position on matters of theology, and that can be confusing to some people. Some are disappointed that we lack the magic that others promise. Some people look for secret insights about the infinite. And when asked about that, I start talking about the James Webb Space Telescope. And that, I think, disappoints some people. It's surprising, but even in this day and age, people are looking for divine revelations, and other voluntary intentional communities meeting on Sunday morning do offer that. And this makes us unique. So, is this our shared solution, our shared illusion? Maybe it is. But as animating ideas go, this faith in people is richer, more real, more hopeful, and more inspiring than any other illusion that I've come across yet. So, welcome to this new season and the work we have to do before us. This year, we'll meet and pursue our journey of discovery with our Sunday speakers and our programs of outreach. And I'm excited about what's happening here, and I invite all of you to join together in these projects and pursue the mission of ethical culture and build a culture of ethics. Thank you.